All right, welcome to this week in League De Nutz. Jim Morrison and the Doors playing us in as we get all fired up for what is, I think, the best time of the season. It really is. You get an idea of where you stand. We get into the thick of things as we get into October. Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That's the one cause the NFL supports that I really dig, and you'll see a lot of pink. And you know in October, when you see that pink, you start really have to thinking about your lineup, what you've got, what you need. The bye weeks are coming. The rivalries start cooking up in the division. This is the time of year where you make your mark. I'm Matt Levine. I'm your commissioner in League De Nutz. We are back. This is the 12th season. Got this thing going years ago, 14 years ago. We're back for the 2022 season, and it is as good as it has ever been. I will talk about it on the show. Review Week 4, give you a little taste of Week 5. Talk about some other things going on. The first trade in League De Nutz for the season, you betcha, we'll talk about it. The Meltzy will splat someone as a lucky winner in Week 4, and we'll touch on, again, Week 5 and show you the scoreboards, the highlights, the best players, crack some jokes. Maybe you'll laugh, maybe you won't. Hopefully you'll just tune in and enjoy hearing about your team, hearing about the league, or if you're not even in the league and you're watching, what the hell are you doing here? I'm just kidding. I'm happy to have you aboard. Maybe I can help you with your team. Maybe we can help you help yourself with your team by seeing what not to do with one of our respective teams. You get what I'm saying. Anyway, let's get right into it. Last week, I talked about parity. Did I ever? I said there was a lot of blowouts, right? But here's the thing I left out while I look out my little notes here, right? The margin of victory, that's where the parity's lacking, but not with the standings. Average margin of victory in Week 4, 25.5 points. However, 10 teams are 2-2. So is that not the epitome or definition of parity? If that isn't, I don't know what is. Pretty amazing, right? One team with a winning record, Delray Pounders, talk about the Rook. One team with a losing record, Keldar, we'll talk about the two-time veteran. One of the goats in League De Nutz. Can you have more than one goat? Is goat singular or plural? Discussion for another time. I hear a lot of people arguing about that one. For me, you can have more than one goat. You can have goats. You know, if it's 5, that makes up an NBA team. 9, you can have 9 goats making up a baseball team. 11 for a football team. Offense, defense. You get the deal, right? But the scoreboard certainly shows where the parity is. The parity lacks, I should say, with the scoreboard, but the standings, show you where the parity is. I mentioned it, right? Let's take a look. Look at all these 2-2 squads. Pretty amazing. To the right, the whole Furley-Roper division. Luca Brazzi, below it. They're all 2-2. Everyone's got a chance. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Then to the left, up top, the Haganah. You don't know what the Haganah is? Shame on you. Go Google it, read about it. See the movie Defiance. 2 of us, 2-2. Me and Yankee Shotgunners, mentioned Keldar. He's at the bottom, but he's alive and well with plenty of pulse. Delray Pounders suffer their first loss, 3-1. Then we get a couple 2-2 squads below. Take a look at that scoreboard last week. We'll get into all these, really just one close game, which I'll highlight. Bottom left, Dingstown, Delray. The rest pretty much, not total blowouts, but not really close. I guess that's the way the old cookie crumbles. Let's get into the scoreboard, shall we? So first game we're going to highlight. We no longer highlight Delray. Number 1, why? Because he's not undefeated. You lose that VIP status. We'll go with the team that had the highest margin of victory in this one. As you see it right there, it was Yonkers Shotgunners FJB over Fantastic Mr. Fox by 41. How do I know it's 41? Because I used my calculator. But it's Yonkers blasting them. Boom. How'd Yonkers get it done? Well, if you're asking, I'm going to tell you. Yonkers wins their second in a row behind the tight end, who I'm renaming TJ Holy Hawkinson. It's my best Chris Berman. Back. All right. 45-48, a wild one. Seattle tops Detroit, good for offense, and Hawkinson took plenty of advantage, didn't he? 8 grabs, 179, 2 touchdowns, outplaying the other tight end, Hayden Hoist from Bensonhurst. I don't think he's from Bensonhurst. Just sounds funny, to me at least. 11 points, 3 grabs, 27 yards, 1 touchdown. Hawkinson is just a fabulous football player. Really one of those guys that could become a very, very elite tight end. 6'5", 243. There you see his nice football card in the corner. Broken up end zone celebration. Static below. From Iowa. First round pick. 8th overall, 19. Getting the job done. 10 catches last week. He'll go into week 4 on a high note. I'm sorry. 8 catches, 179. 2 grabs for him. Just in case you're keeping score at home and my mistake tripped you up. I'll show you the rest of the box score. You see Tua there, right? That ugly injury. Spent way too much time on the turf. Only 2 points for Tua. So he had an abbreviated night. We'll see what the future holds for Tua. Not good news for fantastic Mr. Fox as one of the fantastic quarterbacks in football. Meanwhile, for Yonkers, maybe we'll get a little bit of a push from some of their wide receivers you see there. In addition, of course, Hawkinson was great. Metcalf, 33. Adams, we'll touch on him, 31. So you had a couple stud wide receivers coming through in the clutch for Yonkers, who, like everyone else, is plenty alive and well in League De Nutz. Yonkers will play Delray. I'm sorry, Fox will play Delray. Yonkers will face Keldar in week 5. Speaking of Delray, don't want to pick on the rookie. He's off to a 3-1 start. He's been tremendous. He's earned it. As you see there on the scoreboard, loses his first game of the season to Dingstown's butt fumbles. It was the butt punt the other day, right? The 10th year anniversary of the butt fumble. That's crazy. Mark Sanchez no longer in football. How time flies, even when you're not having fun. But you know what it is for Delray? I was thinking of the scene from Goodfellas, right? Young Henry Hill's walking out of the courthouse. You broke your cherry. Paulie and the rest of the crew are waiting there. Great movie. What a scene. For Delray, you broke your cherry. You lose a game in League De Nutz. Now you have to fix problems, and you're less and less of a rookie. So, welcome aboard to a league that is certainly very competitive. Okay, the quarterbacks for Delray, it's all about riding the coattails thus far this season of the gentleman to the right and hoping to ride the coattails for Dingstown. They want to ride the coattails for the gentleman to the left. Herbert from I almost said San Diego, Los Angeles. What a great quarterback. On the season, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 67% of his passes. He completes 1,250 yards. Last Sunday, 2 touchdowns, 2 of those 9, 340 yards. For him, 27-39 on the completions in the win over Houston, a 10-point win for the Los Angeles Chargers. Lamar, 1 touchdown, pair of interceptions. Still the best quarterback in fantasy football right now, 37 points per game. 6th is Herbert, 26.5 points per game. Again, we got Delray, 500, 2-2. They're 3-1. Dingstown is 2-2 at 500. There you see some of the numbers for these two squads right here. Things got a great day from Carlos Edwards Hilaire. I love that name. Love it. 92 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 92 rushing. I'm going to show you one of the touchdowns in a minute. Another kid from LSU, first rounder in the 20 draft, fourth rounder in the League De Nutz draft this year. Good pickup by Dings. Averaging 18 points a game and seems to just get better game after game. And that really, really exciting Kansas City offense. There he is, little boogaloo. And the animate pick, the profile, very debonair. Nice looking gentleman right there. So that's how it goes, right? A little this, a little that. Dinglings, nice victory. Delray gave it a hell of a fight there to the end. All the way through Sunday night, they lose by 3. Losing by more than 3, and I was happy about that. 198-170, yours truly, the Nutztown Destroyers, my squad. Knocks off Keldar. We get to 2-2, as I mentioned before. Keldar, the only team with a losing record in League De Nutz, 1-3. Not as bad as it sounds. Everyone is alive. I'll keep saying that. Over under on that. I went through that whole spiel last week. Got on funny. I watched it back in the replay. I'll do it once. Over and under on that, definitely 8. Take the over. Just getting going. Keldar's fallen to Nutztown this year 2 times. In week 1 and here in week 4, as you see. The margin of victory, yes, I did my math. Nutztown has won an average of 211 and 159, so they get the sibling sweep. And then some. And how did Nutztown get it done? Oh, you guessed it. It's dynamic duo. When they're hot, I win. When they're lukewarm, I lose. Mahomes and Kelsey. 29 for Mahomes. 24 for Kelsey. As you see, Mahomes there with the 249 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, an INT. Kelsey, 9 grabs. 92 yards and a TD. You know, Kelsey looks good airbrushed. Mahomes looks good in reality. Watch this ridiculous touchdown. Magic Johnson here. Whoop-de-damn-do. How about that? It's so good. It's so great that we're going to watch it again. You've probably seen it about, 75 times this week? Maybe. 83? I forgot I had the other camera on here. There we go. Magic Johnson. Steph Curry. More modern day, maybe. I'd say Russell Westbrook, more modern day. That was just a great, great pass. One for the ages. One you never forget. So as I said, I've been riding Mahomes. I've been riding Kelsey. And I got a little depressed. I lost 2 in a row. I'm thinking, where's my outstanding Sunday of football from this dynamic duo? But, you know, I saw this quote about a week or 2 ago, and it made me realize that Mahomes, wise beyond his years, not only on the field, but between the ears. I'm a poet. I didn't know it. Every experience, good or bad, you have to live from. I'm into that. Thank you, Pat Mahomes. Thank you, Kelsey. I appreciate your efforts. For Keldar, meanwhile, well, you see the guy to the left, top left, right? David Carr. There's Goff. Look at him smiling. Carr looks very, very frustrated, and that's indicative, I think, of last week, what happened for Keldar. As he didn't get much from his quarterback. 11 points from Carr. Struggled 188 yards. Carr averaging 19 points a game. 13 for quarterback. 13 most by a quarterback in League De Nutz. No, I'm sorry. I'm getting this all wrong. Switching around. Playing producer. You see what happens when you start fiddling? Carr is the 13th ranked quarterback in fantasy football, averaging 19 points per game. Did rush for 40 yards last week. You know, he has elusive speed. and gets out there pretty quick. But Goff, he was on the bench for Keldar. Here, let's show him again. Where is he? He was sitting there. You remember he was smiling not too long ago? No, you can't find him. Oh, there he is. Look. He's like Fonzie. There he is. Arthur Fonzarelli. 46 points in the loss to Seattle. 48-45. What a wild game. 4 touchdown passes. But do you blame Keldar? No, not really. I wouldn't trust Goff over Carr. Maybe I will now. That's who Keldar is going to roll with. He's going to go with Carr at Kansas City Monday nighter. Goff is on the bench. As of right now, he might switch. Who knows? Or maybe he plucks someone off the waiver wire. Inquiring minds want to know, Keldar. Goff will be at New England. New England, looking to feast on someone. Look very, very generic in 500 without Tom Brady. I think I saw that Belichick's record post-Brady is 18-19. Keldar will look to rebound, get back in the win track against Yonkers. Yours truly. I'm battling Dingstown this weekend. That's a rematch of the 2018 League De Nutz Championship, which Dingstown won. I'm still pissed over that. Not really. Yeah, I am. Not really. Yeah, kind of. Anyway, got to win this year, right? Dingstown won fair and square. Also with the big W, Stanford, those nuts over Loopies. 156-120 was the score in this one. I can find it. There it is. I found it. All right. So Stanford now 2-2. What's new? Everyone's 2-2. Loopy 2-2. Revenge is sweet. So they played each other home and homes. And last week, it was those nuts losing 158-117. This week, close score, almost identical as last week. Close in regards to back-to-back weeks. They were separated by almost about 30 points, 35 points. 156-20 this week again. 158-117 last week. Talking to Goodfellas, all of a sudden I've become Johnny 2 times, right? I'll get the papers. All right, I digress. Start talking about Goodfellas. We'll really digress. Can make it a whole different show. All right. Anyway, as you see the score there, Stanford led by their first-round draft pick and the Super Bowl MVP, reigning Super Bowl MVP. What a great football player. Top dog Cooper Kupp, first overall pick in the draft. 38 points, 14 grabs, 122 yards for the season, 42 receptions, 402 yards, 3 touchdowns, wide receiver number 1 in League De Nutz. 35 points. Now, I definitely know that Stanford's Donuts was psyched about that, and they're probably celebrating that as much as they were this. Stanford Donuts, they like primetime players, right? They also love the home run hitter on the New York Yankees by the name of Aaron Judge. There she goes. Number 62 for Judge. The most in American League history. And surpasses Roger Maris for the most in a season by a New York Yankee. And you know Stanford Donuts was celebrating baseball and football, second season beginning for those New York Yankees. He's going to be busy. Don't forget about that lineup, okay? It doesn't mean that you just set and forget Cooper Kupp and you're all good to go. Got to pay attention to the football, the baseball. You bet he will. Loopies. Well, Loopies had all kinds of struggles in this one. There's no doubt about that. I'll find my scoreboard here. All right. If I can. Well, I'll tell you about it here. Minus the scoreboard. But I'll give you the trio. Allen. Oh, wait. I'm jumping ahead. I'm sorry, guys. I finally made an error. I was pitching such a perfect game right here. I was pitching a good one. There's my scoreboard. Getting far ahead. Okay. So there you go. Loopies, 156, 120. I was going to say Allen. I'm thinking Jonathan Taylor. Tough game for him. The first overall pick in League De Nutz, only 3 points. Carded out with an ankle injury. Talk about a beautiful football card. And he didn't play Thursday against the Denver Broncos. Ankle injuries are tough. Very, very tough to come back from. And the higher they are, the tougher it is to heal, the longer road it is to get back. So a tough go for Loopies. Found my scoreboard there, my box score. As you see, Taylor right there with the 3 points. Michael Carter, not much doing there. He's to the right. Connor right there to the left for Stanford. Outdid him. 10 points for him. 56 yards for the Arizona Cardinals, former Pittsburgh Steeler. So the running back position for Loopies in doubt a little bit, right? We're going to have to find the way to plug those holes, at least. Hope that Taylor's healthy, because he's a great football player. And then Carter, who knows? He's a jet. Any jet you've got is kind of crazy right now. That's what I think. But he's going to have to do some work, Loopies, and that's why he's a two-time champion. Loopies, they will... Loopies will take on AB's painted helmets. And Stanford will tango. Well, I'm sorry. Stanford will tango with AB's painted helmets. Can't even read my own writing. Whenever I think of tango, I think of that movie, Scent of a Woman. Not that I think of tangoing too much, but if it comes up, I think of Al Pacino, who in that movie said, "Hoo-ah!" Something like that, right? Meanwhile, AB's in action last week. They'll take on Stanford De Nutz. I hope I got that right. I think so. We have the scoreboard. We'll look at it in a minute. Against Polk High School, who made it a series split on the season against the sibling rivalry. 129-111. That was the final score in this one. 2 straight W's for Polk. Another two-time champ. Rebounding nicely, back at 500 in the thick of things. And on Sunday, it was all about this dude right there, who I simply call Debo. 6 catches, 115 yards, 1 touchdown, 40 points. He was the 16th player taken overall in the League De Nutz draft this year, second round for Polk. Second round in the NFL draft in 2019. Carolina Gamecock. There you see him to the left, to the right, a San Francisco 49er. Averaging 20 points per contest, 12th best amongst wide receivers in football. Up-and-coming wide receiver, and I really like the way he aggressively attacks cornerbacks and just goes and gets the football. He's one of these guys that's like a football magnet. I dig his game. And I'm lucky to have him on his squad. ABs, meanwhile, well, they never really got things going outside of Nick Chubb. Chubb nice. 24 points, 111 yards. Chubb right now second in the NFL behind Saquon Barkley, rushing yards, 459 to 405, averaging 5.7 a carry. 24 points for running backs, though, tops in League De Nutz. How about that? I was talking about these guys earlier, right? Oh, no, I was talking about, where's my scoreboard? I left out my scoreboard. I wanted to show you. Okay. Well, I don't have the scoreboard, so I will move on without it. ABs will face off. I wanted to show you the box score from there, but I left it out. ABs will face off against Stanford. Polk will play Dak's Picks 6. And finally, that brings us to Dak's Pick 6. And we'll talk about the Sunday for them against Smash U another two-time champ, wouldn't you know it? They lost Dak's picks in week 4 to Smash, 170 to 143. There's a raccoon against the Hulk. See, in this one, for Dak's picks, well, they were led by the trio. Josh Allen, Jones, the sombrero, and Henry. They combined for 72 points. Wasn't enough, but the good news for Dak's picks, I want to highlight some good in the loss. Derrick Henry's coming alive at the right time for them. 22 carries, 114 yards, a touchdown. You can see his game log through the season, his first 100-yard contest of the year. That's going to be big because he's that kind of guy. Once he starts picking up steam, watch out. Henry, the 6th overall pick in round 1 of the League De Nutz draft for Smash. We'll hope to keep it going in week 5 against Loopies. Loopies won that battle in week 1, 147 to 116. Smash, meanwhile, they celebrate the victory behind this dude right here. As popular as anyone, I think, in the South Florida area since LeBron James. How about that? Tyreek Hill, his usual awesome self, in the loss to Cincy, 39 points, 10 receptions for 166 yards, averaging 31 per contest this year. Jamal Williams, he was able to chip in for Smash in the win. I'm going to talk more about him in a moment. With 28 points, 19 rushes, 108 for the Detroit Lions in that 3-point loss that saw almost 100 points scored between them and Seattle on Sunday. 2 touchdowns. He's going to play a big role. I'll talk more about it, I promise you, in just a moment. Meanwhile, you talk about getting lucky. Smash U's getting lucky in that quarterback position, right? I touched on it with a few other squads, or at least one other squad during the show here a moment ago. And that's Marcus Mariota. First Hawaiian Bank was giving away bobbleheads. I'd love to have one of those to see what it goes for on eBay. He's averaging 14 points a game, Mariota, 23rd best amongst quarterbacks, or worst out of starters. 23rd best. You know what I mean. Only 3 points last week for Smash. There's Carson Wentz on the bench, who I think had 8 points. So Smash U is going to have to make up their mind with what they want to do down the home stretch with the quarterback. Because I don't know if the Wentz combo with Mariota is going to work. Who am I to judge a 2-time champ? Most successful player in League De Nutz history, Smash U. Okay, so that sums up the whole scoreboard right there. Again, your winners, your losers in week number 4, as we put it in the books. And since I live in the South, I'm going to say a Southern term. I think we're fixing to see some real nail biters. Because as I mentioned, the parity is in the standings, not in the scoreboard so far. Both should go hand in hand with one another as we move on through the season. Let's move on to the first trade in League De Nutz 2022, and it belonged to Smash U and Yonkers. The Yonkers Shotgunner. Surprised? No. He and Smash U came through to an agreement that will send the 2 players to the left for the 1 player to the right. Devontae Adams, averaging 24 points a game, will go from Yonkers to Smash for Jamal Williams, who I talked about a moment ago. He's averaging 18. Chase Edmonds, averaging 10. So on paper, it's a fair trade. Adams, of course, the established veteran superstar wide receiver. But my thoughts on this kid, Jamal Williams, I was reading today that he tied... I wrote it down here. Tied LaDainian Tomlinson for the most multi-TD games in their first 4 games of an NFL season. Now, I know Swift is another tremendous running back for the Detroit Lions. But what does that mean in the NFL? Not one running back, none of them, in NFL history ever solidified their position, cemented it. Doesn't happen. Why? Because they get injured so quickly. That's why the great ones are so special. So number 1 today or a 1A, you flip-flop that. Things can happen very quick. The kid's got a lot of talent. So I think there's a lot of upside on the trade for Yonkers. I think Devontae Adams obviously supplements Smash U's lineup. And then with Chase Edmonds, I've gotten a chance to watch him grow here in Miami. And he's a dynamite football player. I know Mostert is getting the bulk of the carries for Miami. But these are 2 running backs that could very easily supplant the guys who are entrenched as the number 1. And they can very easily become 1 or become a very big part of a dual running back system. So I don't think it's a bad trade for either squad. So that's the first one in the books. We'll see if there's any others. I don't know. I like my team. Told Yonkers I'm not trading anything. But that's today. Who knows? Tomorrow things could change. But anyway, that's the trade we had. Meltzy. There we go. Last week's winner, AB's. 111 points. At least he didn't go below the century mark in grabbing his Melty in his loss to Polk, so that gives him his first of the year. We have a 4-horse race right now with a lot of smelly horse poo going around. Every one of those teams has earned it. 12 squads, we'll see. See how it goes in the race for the Melty. And ABs, congrats, you get a splat. Meanwhile, Week 5 is underway in the National Football League. And that brings us to our scoreboard. Some activity, nothing really out of reach so far. I know I had Judy going the other night, and Dinglings had a couple of guys going. And that snorefest of a Colts-Denver game. You know, final thought before I go here. Polk High has Russell Wilson, I'm sorry. I saw Polk High was able to get 30 points from him the week before last. And I thought maybe Russell Wilson was back, but last week he just struggled tremendously. What happened to Russell Wilson? And I was just reading now that I think he has a lat muscle pull. So that may be it. Because I was thinking to myself, something's not right upstairs or with the body. I don't know. I don't know why Russell Wilson looks so terrible. Such a great football player for so long, and now he gets traded to Denver, and he just looks like a shell of himself and what he used to be in Seattle, right? Funny how things like that do happen, but listen, guys, in sports, they lose their fastball sometimes very quick, don't they? There's Wilson last week. Yeah, what? He had 30 points in week 4. I'm sorry. Last week. I don't have last week's scoreboard in front of me. What he did, that was week before. That's right, because he played week 5 already, as I said, against Indianapolis. But I know he struggled mightily. Anyway, sorry to go off on Russell Wilson there as I end the show, about to end the show. But again, here's the Thursday night scoreboard, and here's how things look. I know you've seen this a billion times. You know how your team's looking going into week 5 off the Thursday night game. Remember, if you're watching this now, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, the Giants and Packers. Get your coffee. Grab your bagels, your schmear, your eggs, toast, whatever you eat, oatmeal. For Sunday morning football, 9:30 Eastern Time again in London, Giants and Packers. We'll square off. We will continue squaring off because that is what is at stake, my fine feathered friends. The Nuts Cup, only one of those we can give away each and every season to one of the lucky winners of the 12 teams in League De Nutz. With that said, I'm going to leave you to your Saturday night. There's a lot of baseball on, college football tomorrow again. Sundays are owned by the National Football League. I'm sure you spend all day like this. I do. And that's the exact stupid face I have. You want to see it again? That's it right there. But that's the fun of it, right? That's the beauty of being in League De Nutz. Anyway, have an awesome Saturday night. Enjoy it. Enjoy your Sunday of football, the Monday Nighter. And we'll catch you back next week on This Week in League De Nutz. We'll preview Week 6 and we'll highlight Week 5. Until then, I'm Matt Levine saying so long. And we'll see you later on This Week in League De Nutz. Adios.